All right, my friends, I had to come on here um, and just share with you. I was just chuckling on the way home. I've been reading your comments today about Really Old Bear and her day at the library on Read Across America week, and we were invited to Franklin Elementary School to read. This was 3 years ago. So I think some might have been confused and thought this was actually happening today. It had happened 3 years ago. And when I said it was when she began to become real, she it was like this transition from her just being a character in one of the books that I was that I was writing, and then I don't know what, it was just like this shift started happening. And as I was realizing some things that I was going through as this woman in her late 50s, and things that I was seeing my mother go through, she started taking on the voice of those of us at a certain age. And I started thinking about things and imagining them through her. And I would just get tickled, or there would be something that would just be so, I couldn't even find words to express it, but I could express it through a story with the bear. Just like the story of her searching for the shoes, just the right shoes to fit. And some were too tall and some were too small, and it was hard to fill those shoes, and she had to find the shoes that fit her just right. Now, of course, she winds up finding these ballet slippers that she doesn't realize she shoved her foot all the way into the front, and she can't see the back, that there's all this room in the back. I would just get tickled, but then it would be this sweet emotion that it brought out in me, that I thought, I know if it's doing this for me, and it's between laughing at ourselves and the realization we are getting old. Like my mother said, Christy, these are my ankles. My ankles spill out over my ballet slippers. Or, she'd have her flats on and she's like, look at her ankles. That's me. And we could laugh about it, but then it's such a sentimental thing. There were so many things that I started sharing. But the day that we went to the library, and I was preparing for that event and to go in front of the children, and it got more comical and more sweet, just so sweet and so dear. And I thought, when I put her in the car, I know that I am that woman now. I sit with my purse like this in my lap, and that happened. I don't know when that happened. I used to not sit like that in the car. I was really cool and I could hang out. But now I'm that little old woman that sits with my purse and holding the handle of strap of my purse like this. So I had sat her in the car like that. And you know how we're ready early, and maybe before our husband or before the kids or before anybody else. And so we're ready to go an hour before it's time. And she's sitting out in the car, and with an hour and a half to kill, but she's ready. Whenever I was ready, I just would chuckle. And she was becoming this, I don't know, this voice of us. And so when I was at the library, I'm sorry, in the candle, I got so tickled. We'd had the kindergarten class had come through, and I had read to them, and they just loved all the little characters in the book that I read. And so she was sitting the librarian had a darling little children's rocking chair for her, and I'd had her sitting there, and I had the mousies and the dollies that were on the table behind me. And so I had this lunchbox, and I told the kindergartners left, the first graders were coming in, and as they were getting seated, and the teachers like sit in all in their little rows, I said, y'all just have to give her a minute. She is so tired. That last class just wore her out, and she's feeling a little shaky. She needs something to eat. And I opened up the little lunchbox and pulled out her sandwich, her bread, her peanut butter and honey sandwich, and said she's ready for a sandwich. Well, their eyes were as big as saucers, and they were looking at each other saying, that's a real sandwich. She's eating a real sandwich. And it was like this, they were looking like, is she real? We thought she was just a stuffed animal, but that's a real sandwich. And that's not supposed to, those two things go together. I don't know that they had seen something that was so magical and to watch their faces and them get so just squealing excited. And I said, and they were wanting to know, well, what kind of sandwich is it? I said, well, what do you think bears like? They said, honey. I said, yes. They like peanut butter and honey sandwiches. Well, I just had so much fun with them. And it was like, that was a shift. The people's response to that on social media, they were just like, this bear, oh my gosh, and they couldn't decide, do I want to cry or do I want to laugh? Or is that so sweet? And then it just grew into the things that I would feel as a grandmother or as a woman at this, approaching this stage in life, this season in life, that she was a way for me to voice those things. The things that I couldn't share. My daughter-in-law was expecting, and at that time my son was out of town for a few months, and we couldn't put it on social media because he didn't know yet. And then we didn't want people to know he was out of town. It was so, how do I share this? How do I document this time? And so she had gotten into the little pedal car fire truck, and she was going down the driveway, and she had packed her picnic basket, and the littlest cub had called her and wanted her to fix her special whatever. And so she was on her way to go. So I had taken a picture of her at the end of the driveway in her fire truck pedal car, and she was looking, like she's sitting in the fire truck and she's looking this way and she's got her hand raised. And I'm saying, oh, I thought she was using her turn signal, like I'm getting ready to turn. And then I realized, no, she's waving to all the cars as they go by. And I was able to snap a picture of a car going by. And I would chuckle, but then I would think the sentiment of, there's my daughter-in-law expecting a new little one, and she calls craving food. I'm going to make it, and I will stop everything and go to her. And so I could express that without anybody knowing what was going on. I don't know if y'all even knew that was what was going on or why I did that. So that's what this really old bear is all about. And I had to share this because I've had a day. It's been a day. there's always good in every single day. There's always wonderful things that happen, but then there's some days that are just really stressful. And I'm been spraying. But I knew I could come home and I could come and visit with y'all and share some sweet stories and hopefully clarify what's going on with this bear. And no, I haven't gone round the bend. Maybe one of these days I will, and she'll just be my best friend. But right now I'm able to share things that that we worry about, that I talk to my mother and we talk about, and things that we think about, that how do you share that? How do you put it into words? And then it'll come in a way to share it through the bear. And so I hope that lets you see why there's sometimes that's the only way I can share something that, and if you're saying, yeah, it makes me want to cry, it's touching something that we can't hardly put words to, right? So as I'm working on her book and telling her story, this is the part that I'm trying to explain how this happened and what the transition was, how it occurred and how it came to be, and what it is all about. So sometimes it has things to do with me, sometimes it has things to do with my mother, sometimes it has things to do with just kind of the state of affairs the world is in. So that's where we are with this really old bear. And yes, she is a she, and yes, she's not a little girl bear. She's an old bear. She's seen some things, been around the block a few times. So and her tiara, there's a whole thing. Yeah, the tiara that I posted that on the post this morning was the one that she lost when we were in New Orleans, and I didn't even realize it had gone missing until the next morning, and I was mortified. I was truly sick. over losing that. But friends rallied, and she has quite a selection. Now she's just kind of stuck to this one because it stays on and it's lightweight. And I know I get to, anyway, it's not hard to do. Let me tell you, it happens. So if you talk to your old bears, you are not alone. We could have a club. That's why she has a hashtag. She has quite a following of women who understand. So, and some men too. So we're thankful. I think that was all I was going to tell you. I had a delivery of books today. I was going to let you know too, the ones that won the drawing for the books. With all the snow, I would get a notification, oh yeah, the books are on their way. And then I would get another one. This has changed because of the severe weather. I'm like, I know. So they're trickling in. Thank you for being patient. I will let you know as soon as they are in and as soon as we have copies available. Then I'll share that. But I'm going to get off here. While we still have time, we can post this on IGTV. How about that? Y'all have a good evening, and I hope your day wasn't too stressful. It's just Tuesday. We're going to make it. Take care. Bye.